Thank you very much. Good evening to all of you. And first of all, thanks, Arnold, for that very kind introduction. Red Angel sounds like a tremendous hero, but I can assure you that any comparison to him is one that I could only accept on behalf of those with whom I've been privileged to serve since 2001 in particular, because as all here know, it is those actually on the ground in body armor and Kevlar who turn big ideas from folks like me into reality outside the wire. But in turn, Arnold, General, I want to thank you as well for your decades of service to our country. As a Marine for some 35 years, on Capitol Hill for many years, in academia and in the private sector. In fact, I have firsthand knowledge that the rallying cry at various times in the organizations in which you've been privileged to serve has, in fact, been Arnold Panero up. While offering thanks, I want to offer deep appreciation to retired General Gene Habiger, to Admiral Frank Gallo, and to the Armed Forces YMCA for sponsoring this wonderful event, this third annual awards dinner to honor our military medics and corpsmen, the angels of the battlefield. My wife Holly and I indeed have long admired the Armed Services Y for the wonderful support it provides to our troopers and their families at some 31 locations around the United States. And we've worked closely with some of its elements at Army posts over the years, and we're very grateful to you for all that your great organization does. It's great to see such a wonderful turnout tonight. In fact, it looks as if we've invited everyone but the Fire Marshal. And thankfully, the Fire Marshal didn't decide to show up. But given this audience and those we honor this evening, I'm sure that we at least do have a doctor in the house. I'm sorry. I'm only as good as the material they give me. But it is really a pleasure to see so many distinguished guests here, in particular because they are here to give tribute to those we honor. Representatives Taylor, Smith, Gomert, McKeon, Buchanan, and Granger, thanks to each of you for being here to show Congress's appreciation for our medics and corpsmen. And it was great, obviously, to see my old surgeon and to hear from Senator Bill Frist, because as he explained, I may not have been able to be here tonight without his skilled hands some years ago at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and more on that in a moment. It's also great to have here tonight with us General Norty Schwartz, the man who's at the helm, or I guess more accurately at the controls of America's air power. Wonderful to see our Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Gary Ruffhead, here as well, and to retired Generals Bob Sennewald and Ron Griffith, as well as the many other flag officers. Thanks not just for being here and helping us support this event, thanks for your extraordinary support of our troopers and their families for more years than I know a couple of you want me to enumerate. And Bob Woodruff, it is terrific to see you again and to see how well you're doing. And as to that challenge, anytime, any place, big guy. Well, I am here tonight to perform one simple, hugely important task, and that is to say thank you to our angels of the battlefield, in particular to the troopers who are accepting awards on behalf of their respective services, but also to all of our military's medics and corpsmen. And tonight gives us the opportunity to thank them for all that they do for their fellow troopers by providing medical treatment wherever it's needed, from the front lines in Iraq and Afghanistan to the major medical centers and clinics in the United States. Wherever they serve, they always embody extraordinary qualities: skill, courage, cool under pressure, and selflessness. And tonight we're all here to praise them and to thank them for what they do for their fellow soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen. Now, some out there may wonder what my qualifications are to offer assessments of our medics, and I guess Dr. Frist gave that away a little bit ago, because the fact is I'm quite well qualified on this subject, having twice awakened to the caring eyes of an angel of the battlefield following life-threatening injuries. Though my sucking chest wound in 1991 and my fractured pelvis on a drop zone in 2000 weren't sustained on the battlefield, they were just as real and just as serious. And in each case, it was fellow soldiers, medics, and combat lifesavers who stabilized my injuries long enough to enable me to get to the next level of care. The ultimate armies of one saved my life twice, and I will never forget what those particular angels did for me. Of course, I'm just one of countless individuals who has been saved by a medic or corpsman. In fact, in Iraq and Afghanistan in recent years, angels of the battlefield have been the critical link in a chain of care that has enabled more soldiers to survive injury than ever before in the history of warfare. The percentage of troopers who die from wounds now has fallen from 30% during World War II to about 10% on the contemporary battlefield. Yes, many factors have contributed to this, including better protective equipment and vehicles, and thanks to the members of Congress for their support of those, improved aero medevac capability, and earlier access to surgical care. But among the most important factors have been the angels of the battlefield and improvements in their skill, their training, and their life-saving equipment. Our medics and corpsmen have made a critical difference for many of those, like Bob Woodruff, who have been wounded in action, just as they have for those of us who have sustained life-threatening injuries during training or in accidents. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, in addition to the skill of the angels of the battlefield, their extraordinary courage and selflessness. Stories about such courage and selflessness on the battlefield as the one we heard tonight span the years, but I'm reminded in particular, always, of the story of Private First Class Kenneth Michael Case, who earned our military's highest award, the Medal of Honor, for service above and beyond the call of duty as a medic with the great 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam in 1970. Private First Class Case had only been in Vietnam a few days when, just before dawn, the North Vietnamese Army assaulted his unit's base camp. With complete disregard for his own safety, he moved through a withering onslaught of bullets and grenades to help his fallen comrades. In so doing, he became the target of concentrated enemy small arms and RPG fire, some of which severed the lower portion of one leg and blew him several feet into the air. Displaying incredible determination and fortitude, he applied a tourniquet to his own injured leg and resumed his mission, low-crawling from soldier to soldier, administering aid to his wounded comrades. Undeterred by the continued enemy assault and fire, he even low-crawled outside the company's perimeter to treat buddies who were wounded on an observation post. And at daybreak, after the enemy had retreated, another soldier found a half-conscious PFC Case lying on top of two wounded soldiers in an effort to protect them. Although hovering near death from loss of blood, PFC Case refused treatment for his wounds until the two other severely wounded men were treated and evacuated. His courageous and selfless action not only saved numerous lives, it also inspired other soldiers in his company to continue the fight when the situation was most desperate, and ultimately to beat off the enemy attack. PFC Case survived that fateful night in Vietnam, and in part due to his heroic actions, so did 14 other men from his platoon. I could, of course, tell 1,000 more tales of heroism by medical personnel on the battlefield, and I'm certain that each of you here tonight could contribute many more such stories, recounting the skill, courage, and selflessness of other angels of the battlefield. In fact, one of the greatest privileges of wearing the uniform is the opportunity as a soldier with the medics and corpsmen who proudly wear the caduceus of our military's medical forces. It is similarly a great honor to stand here before you tonight and to pay tribute to those we honor this evening and to the tens of thousands of angels they represent, each of whom is a true army of one, regardless of service. I'd like to close tonight by recalling the eloquent words penned by Chief Hospital Corpsman Harry Penny, Jr. in 1975 to describe the sacrifices of Navy corpsmen, but which apply equally to all medics and corpsmen alike. "I shall not walk in your footsteps," he wrote, but I will walk by your side. I shall not walk in your image. I've earned my own title of pride. We've answered the call together on sea and on foreign land. When the cry for help was given, I've been there right at hand. Whether I am on the ocean or in the jungle wearing greens, giving aid to my fellow man, be it sailors or Marines. So the next time you see a corpsman and you think of calling him Squid, think of the job he's doing as those before him did. And if you ever have to go out there and your life is on the block, look at the one right next to you. I'm the one called Doc. So tonight we say thanks to all those we call Doc, to the medics and the corpsmen here tonight, and to all our military's medics and corpsmen, individuals distinguished by their willingness to risk their lives to save the lives of others, repeatedly demonstrating the courage, compassion, and selflessness we've counted on for generations, from the conflicts of the past through those of today. Tonight we recognize and thank them, the angels of the battlefield, for all that they have done and continue to do for their fellow soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen, and for our great country. Thank you very much.